Yesterday, I read a story about a young girl who was captivated by the story of Jonah being swallowed by the whale, and then spending 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale. And the girl was so taken by the story that the very next day, when she was in science class, she told her science teacher this story. The science teacher happened to be an atheist. And so the teacher told the young girl that this was impossible because the whale's throat is much too narrow for a human body to pass through. But undaunted, the young girl persisted, and she put her faith in the scriptural account of Jonah in the whale. By the same token, the teacher was unyielding. So finally, the young girl said that when she went to heaven, she would ask Jonah how it worked. Well, sarcastically, the teacher replied, "What if Jonah isn't in heaven?" To which the young girl said, "In that case, you can ask him." During this Lenten season, we're reminded of how important it is to be open to God's grace, whether in a sign from God, a biblical passage, or a parable, or a sacrament such as the Eucharist or confession. And Lent is such a wonderful season to test ourselves, to see who we are more like, the science teacher who left no room for God, or the little girl who was drawn into the mystery of God at work in her life. I think that the older we get, the easier it is for us to limit our ability to receive God's signs, the signs that can be so subtle that we can miss them, almost like we'd miss an exit when we're distracted driving down a highway. Of course, God wants us to use our intellect to earn a living, to understand the world around us, including all that He has created. But He also wants us to be like St. Augustine, who, though he had a towering intellect, it was through God's grace that he would come to use his mind to understand how God works, both through our hearts and our minds. My brothers and sisters, today, if you have the opportunity, take some time to talk to a young person in your family or your extended family. Share a biblical story, like Jonah in the whale. Help this young person to see the message of God's love in our redemption. Use your mind, use your heart to pass along the faith, and let the openness of a young person to God's way inspire you all the more, so that our hearts will always remain young enough to believe in a God who works in so many ways. May God bless you and your families on this holy day.